Hey Effers! So, I am finally back to doing YouTube. I'm so sorry again for being kind of a slacker. I went to Paris for a month and then got all caught up in that, and I never vlogged during that even though I took my camera and my tripod overseas. I suck. I know. I'm sorry. But now that I've been back for a month and I'm finally kind of getting back to my life, I am going to be doing my Paris series. So the first of those videos is this one, which is my top 10 favorite things about Paris as a whole. And then I'm going to break it down by like my favorite beauty products or my favorite, whatever. So let's get started. Ugh, let me get comfortable. I hope you can still see me. Number one is food. The food was amazing. In fact, I've had a really hard time adjusting back to American food simply because everything isn't as like rich and fresh here. You know, all of the vegetables and everything that we had for dinner was bought, that day or a couple days before. The bread was bought that day, within like an hour of dinner. The cheese was relatively fresh. The cheese tasted different because it wasn't pasteurized for the most part. There weren't any chemicals added to all of these different foods. Even the candy tasted better. It was just really awesome getting to experience such unique flavors that, are just so, I can't think of the word, just so French. It was incredible. Number two is the public transportation system. The metro and the buses were just incredible. They ran relatively late at night. They, started early in the morning. It was awesome. Sometimes they weren't so reliable. Sometimes they were overly crowded, but you got where you were going without having to drive, without having to pay for parking, without having to pay for gas. There wasn't any of this like, oh, I need to leave this early so that I can find a parking spot, and since I can't parallel park, I have to leave extra early so that I can find a parking spot that I don't have to pay for that isn't parallel parking. And so it was awesome being able to just go buy a month-long Metro pass and just do my thing. It was great. Number three was the shopping. Oh my goodness, the shopping was incredible. Just totally amazing. There was new stuff, there was vintage stuff, there was unique stuff that was just unique to France, and there was also these stores that would sell things that were from other countries that, you can't necessarily get an entire store of just Tibetan stuff in Central Texas. So it was really nice getting to go and explore the various neighborhoods, and each neighborhood had just this like niche shopping experience. So like La Marais had all of this vintage stuff and more unique stuff, and then the richer neighborhoods had Galeries Lafayette, which was like, I guess our version of that would be like the Galleria, or some place that has like just all this really couture shopping, sort of like a department store but better. After Galeries Lafayette, there's also an even more incredible shopping area, the Champs-Élysées, which is, when you think Parisian shopping, if you're gonna go, high class and schwanky, you're gonna go to Champs-Élysées, at least to experience it. I walked up and down it twice. It was amazing. And then I actually only shopped it once, which is when the summer sale started, which was just a whole other experience. But I'm gonna talk about that in my top 10 favorite things I bought video, because a lot of it that I bought was during that. Or was the chateau trip. We went on a trip to the various French castles, not all of them, but big ones like Chenonceau and Chambord, and a few others. And it was really interesting because we actually got to stay on the grounds of one of the castles, and we ate lunch in the castle. Like, it was just our group inside the castle eating lunch. It was so cool. And it was just really incredible getting to experience that part of the history of France in general. And I kind of became obsessed with Francois the First, because his animal that's on his crest is the salamander, And I thought that they meant literally like the little amphibious reptilian salamander, but it's literally a mythical creature, and I felt like an idiot not knowing that. So I bought like a ring with it on it, and a postcard with it on it. But that was really cool because not only did I get to experience the history, I got to learn from people who really, they've studied it. It's different than, learning it out of your French textbook where it's like a paragraph. We actually got, private tours of various places in the castles, and we got to learn more about it. Number 5, I normally don't talk about drinking or anything like that on YouTube or Facebook or anything like that because I'm not 21 yet. I have a couple months left. But in Paris and the majority of Europe, the drinking age is 18. And so it's a completely different world there. I didn't get carded. I didn't, have to pay a cover fee to get in somewhere because I'm underage. I didn't have to walk around with those big black X's on my hands marking me as a minor, even though I've been 18 or over 18 for 2 years. Like, I find that hilarious. But anyway, it was really nice being able to go out with everybody from the group because there were some people in the group who were 21. And if this had been, in New York, I wouldn't have been able to go some of the places where we wanted to go. And because the drinking age was 18, we were able to find this incredible bar called The Last Bar Before the End of the World. And it's actually in French, but my accent has been horrible since coming home. But, being able to go there and experience that was just really awesome. And I'm not one to party or anything like that, so I didn't take advantage of it as much as some people in the group did. And so I think I was able to enjoy it a little bit more because it was something special to me, I guess, would make sense. Number 6 is the monuments. I loved being able to, just jump on the metro and go to some place just absolutely drenched in history. And then, our host family lived a 20-minute walk from the Eiffel Tower. So we walked there, we had lunch there, we, just hung out. We got to go and see it at night and then walk home because, we could have taken the metro 2 stops up, but a 20-minute walk is not that much. It's like, whatever. But it was really cool getting to just walk around the city and experience it and see the various pieces of history kind of nestled in these modern areas. And it was very cool seeing how they've incorporated historical areas into an area that's, ever expanding and ever growing. So number 7 was the pace of life. Everything in France and much of Europe is much slower. It's not all about business, getting to work at, 7 o'clock in the morning and not getting home until like 8 o'clock at night. They have a 2-hour lunch break, and it's not a big deal if you have a glass of wine with lunch. And, life in France is just far more relaxed and family-based and private. You don't bring your work home, and you don't really bring... Seriously? Is that necessary? Life in France is much slower, and it's more family-based, which I already said, but it'd be really nice if people in the area would stop setting things on fire. It was interesting to see that, unlike in America where everything is based on how early you can get to work and how late you can stay and how much work you can take home so that you can get overtime or whatever, everything there was more about how much time can you spend with your family. They have an entire month where they just have holiday. Everything shuts down in August so that they can go on holiday and enjoy themselves. Number 8, for students and people under the age of 18, it is free to go to so many monuments, museums, events, everything. It is incredible. On top of that, they have various events that are just free for everybody. So we were there during the Fête de la Musique, and there were tons of free shows. You just go and you stand in line forever, and you get inside and you get to see Lana Del Rey or whoever is playing for free. The museums were free for us because we were there through the Paris College of Arts. So we got to go in as art students and see the various museums for free. And I think that was like a special experience for me because museums are a huge part of my life. I could spend days just walking around a museum and sitting there and looking at everything, and it was just so cool. Number 9 would have to be my host family. Me and my roommate Jessica, who we lived together here and then we lived together over in France. It was just incredible getting to experience a real French family life. We lived with a single mom and her only daughter. Rosa was freaking cool. She was cooler than I probably will ever be and ever have been, and I was certainly not as cool as she is at her age, and I'm super jealous. But their entire life, it was just really awesome getting to experience that, even though it was only for a month and I wish we could have stayed longer. They were just amazing. So number 10 technically should belong in food, but I don't think that it does because macaroons are a very important part of French culture. They're the little like colorful cookies that everybody sees. You know, there are some shops now, I guess in New York and LA, that sell them, but none of them are Pierre Hermé. And let me tell you, he is like the fashion designer of macaroons. He changes his lineup for the season. And so he has like 1 or 2 like really unique macaroons that are like set to the season. And then he has, you know, other unique macaroons that are just, you know, he changes it up. And then he has, you know, the traditional ones like pistachio and rose and all of that. But the one macaroon that I will never forget, it was like a citrus lemon deliciousness with white pepper in it. And so it was just ever so slightly spicy, and the heat kind of hit you at the end and it just kind of sat with you for a while, and it was just I miss them so much. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed my top 10 favorite things overall about Paris and I guess France in general. I hope you give me a thumbs up, and if you want to watch the rest of my Paris vlogs, feel free to subscribe below. I'm going to have a little bit of information about the stuff I mentioned in the description. I'm excited to tell you more about my trip, and I'm also really excited to kind of get back in the flow of vlogging and posting videos and being useful as a YouTuber. Again, I'm sorry for not being active the last 3 months, and I love you guys so much for sticking around and staying subscribed, and hopefully we will be seeing a lot more of each other. I love you guys so much. Bye! Mwah!